Erdogan's visit to Africa. TRT World's Oubai Shahbandar joins us now. Oubai, we've heard the President delivering some remarks at the opening of this vast new embassy in the South African capital. I was reading somewhere that Turkey plans to have a mission in every African country, and Erdogan himself has visited some 20 African countries since 2014. What's behind this push to expand Turkey's presence in Africa?
Well, this BRICS Leadership Conference is very significant. This is the first time that a president of Turkey attends a BRICS Leadership Summit. Of course, it's being held in South Africa, and South Africa being an important member of the BRICS Global Collective, which includes Brazil, Russia, India, China, and of course South Africa. And it's coming at a time when President Erdogan recently led a grand tour of Africa, West Africa and East Africa, a significant amount of volume of trade between Turkey and Africa, to include a significant amount of Turkish non-governmental organizations and diplomatic outreach across the board, to include security cooperation. So a significant amount of effort being invested by President Erdogan and Turkey to improve the bilateral relationship, not only between Turkey and South Africa, but also between Turkey and the BRICS countries, which include around $60 billion of volume of trade between BRICS and Turkey. Very significant, given that BRICS represents around 43% of the world's population and around 23% of the overall global trade. So Turkey's involvement, very important in that regard.
In his remarks, Erdogan also used the phrase, the world is bigger than five, which he's used before, including at the United Nations, referring, of course, to the 5 permanent members of the United Nations. And that's pretty much the premise of the BRICS grouping, isn't it? It's the countries that have been sidelined in international fora that's been dominated by Western countries. But I'm wondering, what does Erdogan plan to achieve at this BRICS summit? You say it's the first high-level contact between Turkey and the BRICS organization.
Absolutely. And it was no coincidence that President Erdogan mentioned that the world is bigger than 5 at his speech at this BRICS Leadership Conference in South Africa. And essentially, that's what BRICS represents, a third way in the global community, representing the world's leading emerging markets and emerging economies. And of course, Turkey being one of the world's largest and most important emerging economies, with significant amount of cooperation between Turkey, Africa, Turkey, China, and Turkey and Russia. So it only makes sense that Turkey plays an important role in the way forward as BRICS expands its global economic involvement to include security cooperation and educational as well. Turkey playing a very important role across the board.
And we will be keeping an eye on President Erdogan's visit to Africa. Oubai Shahbandar, thank you for your analysis.